People don't reward potential. They reward behavior. They can see. That single truth can change the way you approach your life. You might have dreams. You might have goals. But if your actions don't show strength, discipline, and direction, the world will not take you seriously. The way you carry yourself tells people everything about you before your results even arrive. If you stand with confidence, speak with purpose, and work with consistency, you create respect long before you achieve the outcome you want. In this session, you'll discover how to shape your daily habits so that people see you as capable and trustworthy right now, not someday in the future. I'll share powerful, realistic steps that will help you live as the person you want to become. Stay close, because once you start practicing these actions, your path to success becomes clear and unstoppable. Number 1, speak less about problems and show more real progress. When you look at people who are truly successful, one of the first things you notice is that they do not spend their time talking endlessly about what is wrong in their lives. They don't fill their conversations with complaints, and they don't try to win attention by always being the one with the biggest struggle. Instead, they focus their energy on showing results. And this is not because they have fewer problems than you. It is because they have trained themselves to think differently, to act differently, and to give their attention to progress rather than pain. If you want to act successful until you become successful, one of the first disciplines you must master is this: speak less about problems and show more real progress. When you keep repeating your problems, you are feeding your own mind with weakness. Each time you talk about what is going wrong, you are reinforcing the story that you are stuck. People may listen for a while, some may even give you sympathy, but eventually they stop respecting you. They begin to see you as someone who complains more than they create. And that is not the way to live if you want success. Success comes to those who can control their conversations, who can manage what they give energy to, and who understand that attention is a currency. When you spend it on problems, you have nothing left for progress. Now, I am not saying ignore your problems. Problems are real, and they need solutions. But your problems are not supposed to be your daily headline. They should be dealt with quietly, with action, with determination, and then replaced with evidence of movement forward. You don't need to convince people of how hard your life is. What you need is to convince yourself that you are capable of handling it. And the best way to do that is to show progress. Even small steps matter, because small steps accumulate. Think about how much time people waste explaining why something did not work. They repeat the story of how others treated them unfairly, how circumstances were against them, how they didn't have enough support, or how life was difficult. They go through these stories again and again, and the more they talk, the less they move. Progress disappears when your language is chained to excuses. If you want to act like a successful person, stop wasting energy repeating these stories. Replace those words with action. Replace that conversation with results that speak for you. You must understand that human beings naturally respect results. It is not your words that prove who you are. It is what you show. When you walk into a room and people know you deliver, you don't need to convince them with story. They already see it in your work, in your habits, in your discipline. That is the power of showing progress. It creates trust, and trust is the foundation on which opportunities arrive. Now think about this from another perspective. When you speak less about problems, you also train your mind to become solution-oriented. The brain gets used to what you feed it. If you give it constant reminders of pain, it keeps circling back to pain. But if you give it direction by asking, "What can I do next?" you create momentum. Momentum is built when progress, no matter how small, is repeated daily. Imagine waking up and deciding that today you will speak less about what is broken and instead work on something, even something small, that moves you closer to your goal. At the end of the day, you feel a different energy inside you. That feeling is progress, and it is addictive in the best way. Successful people act in this manner long before they achieve recognition. They keep their conversations sharp and focused. If you ask them about a problem, they will not go into long stories. They will tell you briefly and then share what they are doing about it. Notice that pattern. They don't hide from reality. but they don't let it control their identity. They speak with calm, with control, and they redirect the energy towards solutions. That is how you must practice if you want to grow. You must also realize that when you constantly talk about problems, you push away the very people who could help you. High achievers don't like to be around constant negativity. They want to connect with people who bring energy, who show movement, who are disciplined enough to manage their difficulties without turning never conversation into therapy. If you want to be around winners, then learn to act like one. Limit your words about the negative and expand your actions toward the positive. That is how you earn respect and invitations to bigger circles. Now ask yourself this question honestly. In the last week, how many conversations did you spend explaining your struggles instead of showing your progress? Count them. If the number is high, then you have discovered why momentum is missing in your life. The truth is, progress loves silence. It grows when you spend less time broadcasting your pain and more time investing in work. You do not need the world to know how much you suffer. You need the world to see how much you produce. This requires discipline, and discipline always begins with awareness. Starting today, watch your language closely. When you catch yourself about to complain, pause. Ask yourself, is this conversation going to move me forward or keep me stuck? Then make the stronger choice. Replace the complaint with an action. Replace the story with a result. If you didn't finish a task yesterday, don't spend time telling people why. Wake up and finish it today. That is progress. That is the behavior of someone who acts successful until success becomes their reality. Think of how powerful it would be if every time someone asked how you were doing, you answered not with your problems, but with your progress. Imagine saying, I'm working on a new skill, or I finished my goal for the week, or I've been consistent with my health routine. Those are words that show maturity, strength, and forward movement. People hear that, and they know you are serious. They start to treat you differently, and you begin to feel different about yourself. It is also a psychological shift here. When you reduce the habit of complaining, you naturally build self-respect. You feel stronger because you know you are not giving in to weakness. You feel in control because you are not letting problems dominate your identity. That control builds confidence, and confidence builds influence. Influence opens doors. See how it works? One small shift, speak less about problems, and show more progress, creates a chain reaction that leads you towards success. But this does not mean you have to wait until you achieve something huge. Even small progress counts. If you read 5 pages today, that is progress. If you saved a small amount from your income, that is progress. If you exercised for 20 minutes, that is progress. Speak about these actions. Show these results, and you will notice your self-image changing. The key is consistency. Do it every day until people no longer see you as someone stuck in problems, but as someone who is always moving forward. The world does not reward problems. It rewards solutions. People don't remember those who complain the loudest. They remember those who achieve the most. If you want to act successful, then carry yourself as someone who values action more than excuses. Be the person who others describe as focused, calm, and disciplined. That reputation starts with what you say and what you show. Now I want you to think about your own life. Where are you spending too many words on problems? Where are you explaining more than you are acting? Write it down. Then choose one area where you can immediately stop talking and start showing progress. Do it today. Show yourself that you are capable of change. Prove it with action. Prove it with results. This is not about pretending your life is perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. This is about choosing the stronger path, the path that builds you instead of weakens you. You can still face your problems, but face them quietly, with determination, and then let the world see only the results. Over time, your life will change. People will begin to treat you as a person of value, because you act like a person of value. And eventually, you will not just be acting successful, you will be living it as. Success is built by small disciplines, repeated daily. One of the most powerful disciplines is this: speak less about problems and show more real progress. Practice it until it becomes who you are. When you do, you will notice that doors open, respect grows, and opportunities appear. Because the world cannot ignore a person who consistently moves forward. That is the path of someone who acts successful until they become successful. Number 2, Look people in the eyes and mean what you say. When you walk into a room and meet someone, the way you look at them tells more about you than the words you speak. A steady look in the eyes shows honesty, strength, and confidence. It sends the message that you mean what you say and you stand behind your words. People judge character, not only by what comes out of your mouth, but by the way your body communicates. If your eyes shift around, if you avoid direct contact, people sense weakness. They may not say it out loud, but they feel it. Trust is built not only on promises, but on presence. And the eyes carry the weight of presence more than anything else. Looking people in the eyes is not about intimidation. It is about connection. When you avoid it, you break the bridge between yourself and others. Human beings are wired to respond to eye contact. From childhood, we learn to look at those who guide us. In conversation, eye contact says, "I am with you. I am not hiding." That is the kind of behavior that builds influence. If you want to act successful until you become successful, you must train yourself to face people with direct eyes and speak words that carry weight. Too many people make the mistake of talking with empty language. They say things they do not mean. They promise actions they never plan to take. Over time, people learn not to trust them. A successful life cannot be built on weak words. If you want to be taken seriously, your words must be clear. You must follow them with action. When you say you will do something, people should know you will keep your word. And when you speak, your eyes must match the message. Without that, your language is hollow. Think about the last time you spoke with someone who avoided eye contact. You probably felt that they were uncertain, or maybe even dishonest. You felt there was a wall between you and them. Now think of the opposite. Someone who looked directly at you while speaking with calm confidence. You felt the difference instantly. That's because humans are sensitive to sincerity. And sincerity is carried through the eyes and the tone. Successful people know this, and they master it. To look people in the eyes and mean what you say, you must first learn to respect your own words. Stop saying things you don't intend to do. Stop making promises just to please people. If you agree to something, mean it. If you cannot do it, say no. There is more respect in an honest no than in a weak yes. When people learn that your words are always real, they listen differently. They give weight to your voice because they know it carries truth. This is also about building inner strength. Looking directly into someone's eyes requires courage. It shows that you are not afraid to be seen. Many even avoid eye contact because they doubt themselves. They feel small inside, so they lower their gaze. But the more you practice holding your eyes steady, the more you strengthen your confidence. It is a physical habit that transforms into a mental habit. By training yourself to meet someone's eyes, you train yourself to stop hiding from life. That habit will serve you in business, in relationships, and in every part of your growth. In conversations, people pay more attention to your behavior than your words. You could give a long explanation, but if your eyes drift away, they know you are not standing strong. On the other hand, you could say something very simple, but if you deliver it with steady eyes and a calm tone, it feels powerful. This is why some of the most respected leaders speak in short sentences. They don't need a lot of words because they carry conviction. Their presence makes every word count. Think of how this applies to opportunities. If you walk into an interview or a business meeting, your qualifications are only part of the decision. The rest is how you present yourself. People want to know if they can trust you. If you are steady, if you mean what you say, if your words and eyes align, they trust. If they don't, you lose ground. You cannot afford to lose ground because of weak presence. Eye contact also shows respect. When you look someone in the eyes while they speak, you show them that they matter. You give them the gift of attention. People remember that. They feel valued. And when people feel valued around you, they want to work with you, follow you, and support you. This is not manipulation. It is human psychology. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to feel heard. Eye contact gives that gift without words, but you must combine it with meaning. If you inch someone in the eyes and make promises you never keep, you are worse off than before, because now you are not only unreliable, but you are also dishonest. People do not forget. dishonesty. It destroys trust faster than anything else. So the rule is simple. Say only what you mean, and then do what you say. That is the formula for integrity. And integrity builds reputation. Reputation builds opportunity. The beauty of this habit is that it is available to everyone. You don't need money, status, or special talent to look someone in the eyes and speak with truth. It is a discipline anyone can develop. And once you do, it changes the way people see you. You may not have reached your goals yet, but people will start treating you as someone to be respected. That is how you act successful. Before you achieve the full success, think about your daily life. How often do you avoid direct connection? How often do you say yes when you should say no? How often do you soften your words to avoid discomfort? Each of those moments chips away at your strength. You may feel safe in the moment, but over time, you weaken your reputation. People stop taking you seriously. They stop believing your words. That is a dangerous phase to be. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine building the habit of always saying what you mean and backing it with steady eyes. People will describe you as reliable, as confident, as trustworthy. They will know that when you speak, it is worth listening, and then you promise, it is worth expecting. That is how influence grows. Influence is not given by accident. It is earned through habits like this one. This is also about self-image. When you look people in the eyes and speak with meaning, you also convince yourself. You feel stronger because your behavior matches your value. You feel proud because your words are real, and that pride builds self-respect. Without self-respect, it is almost impossible to build anything lasting. With it, you can handle pressure, challenges, criticism, because you know you are standing on solid ground. Do not underestimate the power of simple disciplines. Eye contact and truthful words may seem small, but they change everything. They build your character, shape your relationships, and determine how the world treats you. The difference between being overlooked and being respected often comes down to these small but powerful behaviors. If you want to act successful until you become successful, then start here. Look people in the eyes, speak with clarity, mean every word, keep every promise. Over time, your presence will change. People will treat you differently, and most importantly, you will treat yourself differently. That is the foundation of real success, living in a way that makes you proud and earns respect from others. This is how you start becoming the person you want to be, before the world gives you the title. And when you live this way long enough, success is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you grow into, because your behavior has already made you ready for it. Number 3, keep your phone away when it is time to work. One of the greatest challenges today is not the lack of opportunity. It is the lack of focus. You live in a world where your attention is pulled in 100 directions every minute. And the strongest pull comes from the small device in your pocket. That phone has become the greatest thief of time, energy, and progress. If you want to act successful until you become successful, you must learn to keep your phone away when it is time to work. The difference between someone who achieves and someone who stays stuck is often the discipline of focus. Real work requires long stretches of concentration, and that cannot happen when your phone is buzzing, lighting up, or waiting with endless notifications. Every time you check your phone, you break your momentum. You may think it is just a few seconds, but each interruption takes minutes for your brain to return to full focus. Multiply that by dozens of checks a day, and you have lost hours. Hours that could have been used to build your future are wasted scrolling through distractions that give you nothing in return. Successful people protect their time like treasure. They know that focus is rare and valuable. When they sit down to work, they treat it as sacred. They turn off distractions, they shut the door, they clear their desk, and most importantly, they put their phone away. Not just face down on the table where it still whispers for attention, but out of sight. Because out of sight means out of mind, and that gives your mind the space to dive fully into the task. You cannot build anything meaningful with scattered attention. Progress demands depth. Whether you are writing, planning, studying, or building, you need uninterrupted time where your mind can go deep into the work. Without that, your output stays shallow. You finish tasks halfway, you forget details, and you settle for average. But when you protect your focus, when you remove the phone and give yourself full presence, the quality of your work changes. You finish faster, you create better, and you feel proud of the effort you put in. That pride builds confidence, and confidence fuels even greater progress. Think about how much time you already lose to your phone. Be honest. How many times today did you check it without even needing to? How many times did you unlock it just out of habit? Every one of those moments was a small cut in your discipline. And when those cuts add up, they weaken your entire day. No wonder so many people feel they are busy but never moving forward. They are busy reacting to notifications, not building anything real. If you want to act like a successful person, you must show the discipline of controlling your environment. Put your phone in another room when you work. Turn off the sound, disable unnecessary notifications. Set a specific time to check it after your work is complete. This simple act sends a strong message to your mind. Work matters more than distraction. Over time, your brain learns to respect that boundary, and your ability to focus grows stronger. There is also a psychological benefit here. When you keep your phone away during work, you regain a sense of control over your own life. Instead of being pulled around by every message, you become the one in charge. That control gives you peace. It makes you feel capable and steady. And when you feel steady, your decisions improve. Success is not just about money or status. It is about control over yourself. Discipline with your phone is a daily exercise of that control. Now, some people will argue, but I need my phone for work. And yes, in certain cases it is true. But there is a difference between using your phone as a tool and being controlled by it. Ask yourself honestly, when you pick it up, are you working or are you escaping work? If you are scrolling through social media, if you are answering messages that could wait, if you are chasing news and updates that add nothing to your goals, then you are not working. You are wasting. And wasted time is the enemy of success. Imagine what you could accomplish if you remove just 2 hours of phone distraction every day. In a week, that's 14 hours. In a month, over 50 hours. In a year, more than 600 hours. That's the time you could use to learn a new skill, build a project, or strengthen your body. But most teens never see that, because their phone steals it in tiny moments that add up silently. When you start practicing this discipline, you may feel uncomfortable at first. You may feel anxious without your phone nearby. That is because your brain has been trained to expect constant stimulation. Breaking that habit takes patience, but stay with it. Each time you resist the urge to check your phone, you build strength. Each time you finish a block of focused work, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more. And soon, what once felt hard becomes normal. Pay attention to how different you feel after a day of real focus. You feel lighter because you accomplished something. You feel proud because you honored your work. You sleep better because your mind is not cluttered with endless noise. These are the rewards of discipline, and they are available to you every single day if you choose to control your phone instead of letting it control you. Success requires trade-offs. If you want to win in life, you must give up certain comfort. Constant phone use is a comfort that costs you progress. Putting it away may feel inconvenient, but that small sacrifice buys you hours of growth. Ask yourself, which matters more? Quick moments of distraction, or the life you are eyeing to build? The answer is clear if you truly want success. Remember, the world is full of people who talk about being busy, but have nothing to show for it. Don't be one of them. Be the one who works in silence, with focus, and then shows results. Protect your time, protect your mind, and protect your future by guarding your attention. The simplest way to do that is to keep your phone away when it is time to work. Do this consistently, and people will notice the difference in you. They will see that you are reliable, productive, and serious about your goal. You may not be at the top yet, but your behavior will already match someone who is successful. And that alignment between your actions and your goals is what carries you forward. Success does not come accident. It comes by habits. This is one of the most powerful habits you can build. So start today. The next time you sit down to work, put your phone in another room. Train yourself to focus fully. Complete your tasks with discipline. Build this habit until it becomes part of who you are. Then when people look at you, they will see someone serious, someone capable, someone ready for success. That is how you act successful until you become successful. Number 4, shake hands firmly and make your presence remembered. When you meet someone for the first time, the first impression happens in seconds. Before you speak more than a few words, people are already forming an opinion about who you are and how much respect you deserve. One of the strongest signals you send in that moment is the way you greet them. A firm handshake is not just a polite gesture. It is a statement. It communicates strength, confidence, and seriousness. If you want to act successful until you become successful, you must learn the discipline of shaking hands firmly and making your presence remembered. A weak handshake tells people you lack energy, or worse, that you lack confidence. They may not say it, but they feel it immediately. It creates doubt about your character. On the other hand, when you greet someone with a firm, steady handshake, you send the message that you are strong, reliable, and trustworthy. People may not analyze it consciously, but deep inside, they feel the difference. They take you more seriously. This is human psychology at work, and those who understand it can use it to build influence long before they have achieved success. But it is not only about the handshake itself, it is about the presence you bring with it. Presence is the energy that people feel when you enter a room. Some people walk in and nobody notices. Others arrive, and without saying a word, everyone feels it. That difference is not about fame or money. It is about how you carry yourself. When you shake hands firmly and hold yourself with confidence, you create that presence. People remember you, not because you demanded attention, but because you carried yourself as someone worth remembering. To build this habit, you must first take yourself seriously. If you do not respect yourself, it shows in your body language. Your handshake takes weak. Your shoulders droop. Your tone of voice fades. When you respect yourself, you stand tall. You look directly at people, and you greet them with energy. That is how self-respect turns into outward respect. Others begin to treat you according to the way you treat yourself. Think about the leaders you admire. They do not slouch into a room. They do not offer weak greetings. They step forward. They meet you eye to eye. And they give a handshake that leaves no doubt they are present. You can build that same habit, regardless of your current status. You do not need wealth or fame to greet people with strength. You only need discipline and awareness. Every time you meet someone, remind yourself, this is a moment to show who I am. This is a moment to prove that I am serious. People will not remember every word you say, but they will remember how they felt when they met you. A firm handshake, steady eye contact, and strong posture create that memory. It may seem small, but it can change the way opportunities come to you. Someone may decide to trust you with responsibility simply because you made a powerful first impression. Another may decide you are not ready, simply because you appeared unsure. The difference is in your presence, and presence begins with the detail. Some people make the mistake of thinking presence is about speaking loudly or showing off. It is not. True presence is quiet strength. It is calm confidence. It is the ability to stand before someone with no rush, no fear, and no weakness in your handshake or voice. That kind of presence is rare. And because it is rare, it is valuable. When you practice it daily, people start to associate you with reliability. They know you are not pretending. You are living with intention. You must also remember that presence is not only for strangers. It is just as important with the people you already know. Every time you greet someone, you are reinforcing the image they have of you. If you are casual and careless, they see you as casual and careless. If you are strong and respectful, they see you as strong and respectful. Over time, those repeated moments build your reputation. And reputation is one of the most powerful assets you can have. It opens doors once before your achievements do. The handshake is symbolic of something larger. The way you approach human connection. Success is not built alone. It requires relationships, trust, and influence. If people do not remember you, if they do not feel your presence, they will not open doors for you. But if they do, they will recommend you, invite you, and support you. And it all begins with these small but powerful actions. Now ask yourself, how many times have you greeted someone without intention? How many times have you given a handshake that said nothing? Those are wasted chances to leave an impression. Starting today, you can change that. Every greeting is an opportunity to send a message. Treat it with seriousness. Make sure your handshake is firm. Make sure your posture is straight. Make sure your eyes meet theirs. In that one moment, you are telling them, I am someone who respects myself, and I respect you too. The beauty of this discipline is that it requires no money, no special talent, and no extraordinary background. Anyone can do it. Yet few people actually practice it. That is why it stands out. That is why it matters. And that is why it will set you apart. While others waste chances by being careless, you can use every meeting to strengthen your image. Think about how you want people to describe you after you leave a room. Do you want them to say you were forgettable? Or do you want them to say you carried strength? Do you want them to feel doubt about you? Or do you want them to feel trust? Those impressions are not created by accident. They are created by the way you present yourself in the small moment. If you want to act successful until you become successful, you must take control of those moments and use them wisely. When you meet someone, remember this: you may never get another chance to make a first impression. Treat it with respect. Bring energy to the moment. Offer your hand firmly. Speak with calm clarity. Stand tall. These are not just gestures. They are signals of who you are becoming. And if you repeat them enough, they stop being something you do. They become part of who you are. In time, people will know you, not only for what you achieve, but for the way you show up. They will know you as someone who carries presence, someone who means business, someone who respects themselves and others. And that kind of reputation is priceless. It cannot be bought. It can only be built. Handshake by handshake, moment by moment. Success is not waiting for you to arrive. It is shaped by the way you live right now. Every time you meet someone, you are either building respect or losing it. Choose to build it. Choose to make yourself remembered. Choose to act like the successful person you are becoming. Because one day, when you look back, you will realize that these small acts of presence were the foundation of everything you built. Number 5, write your goals daily and treat them like deadlines. If you want to move from wishing for success to actually building it, you must create a habit that turns your dreams into something real and measurable. That habit is writing your goals down every single day and treating them like deadlines. A goal that lives only in your head is weak. It is soft. It changes with your moods. But a goal that is written on paper, seen with your eyes, and reviewed daily has power. It becomes something you cannot ignore. It pushes you to act, because every time you look at it, you are reminded of the responsibility you gave yourself. When you write your goals daily, you give your mind a clear direction. Human beings work best when they have clarity. Without clarity, you drift. You waste time. You jump from one thing to another. With clarity, your energy is concentrated. You know where you're going, and you know why it matters. Writing your goals forces you to decide. It removes the excuse of confusion. Every day you put the words on paper, you are shaping your focus. But writing alone is not enough. You must treat your goals as deadlines, not as wishes. A deadline carries urgency. It tells you this must be done by this time. Without urgency, goals become endless. You say, I'll do it when I feel ready. That day never comes. But when you tie your goals to deadlines, your mind starts working differently. You begin to organize your hours. You begin to cut out waste. You begin to act with seriousness, because you know there is no endless tomorrow. Think of how businesses operate. Every company that survives works on deadlines. Projects have dates. Reports must be delivered on time. Bills must be paid by the due date. Deadlines create accountability. In your personal life, you must run yourself with the same discipline. If you say you want to build wealth, write the number, write the timeline, and treat it as serious as a company would treat a financial report. If you want to improve your health, write the exact target, the exact time frame, and hold yourself accountable to it, as if someone were waiting on the result. That is how you stop drifting and start progressing. There is something powerful that happens in your psychology when you write goals daily. It reminds your brain that these things matter. In a world filled with distractions, it is easy to forget what you promised yourself. Days pass quickly, and without daily reminders, weeks are wasted. By writing your goals every morning, you reset your focus. You remind yourself of your bigger picture. You start the day with direction instead of letting the day control you. You also train yourself to refine your goal. Writing them daily gives you the chance to adjust, to make them clearer, sharper, and more aligned with what you truly want. At first, your goals may be vague, but as you repeat the habit, you start to notice what really matters to you. You sharpen the details. You cut out the noise. Soon your goals are not just random wishes. They are clear instructions to yourself. That clarity makes your actions more effective. Treating goals like deadlines also builds discipline. When you tell yourself something must be done by a set date, you feel the pressure. That pressure can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Without it, most people remain lazy. With it, you rise to the challenge. Success requires pressure. It requires that you hold yourself to a higher standard. Deadlines do that. They stop you from being casual. They force you to act like the future matters today. Now consider the alternative. People who do not write goals and do not set deadlines spend most of their lives reacting. They live on other people's schedules. They respond to circumstances instead of creating their own. They work hard but without direction, so their effort does not accumulate into meaningful results. They end up busy but unfulfilled. That is it what you want. You want progress, and progress demands daily structure. The act of writing goals may seem simple, but it is one of the most powerful disciplines you can practice. It costs nothing. It takes only minutes, but it changes the way your mind works. Every time you put pen to paper, you make your vision concrete. You are no longer just thinking about it. You are documenting it, and the brain responds differently to written words than to passing thoughts. Written goals stay alive in your awareness. Imagine the power of waking up every morning, opening your notebook, and writing down the same goals with fresh commitment. Day after day, those words burn deeper into your mind. They become part of your identity. You begin to see yourself as the person who will achieve them. And because you see yourself that way, your behavior starts to align. You choose actions that match your goals. You avoid distractions that do not. You create consistency, and consistency builds results. Some people will tell you you keep their goals in their mind. That is not enough. The mind forgets. The mind changes with emotions, but paper does not forget. Writing daily keeps you honest. It is proof of your commitment. And when you go back and look at old pages, you can measure how far you've come. That measurement gives you confidence because you see the evidence of your own growth. Deadlines take it even further. They create accountability. Imagine telling yourself, I will lose 10 pounds in 90 days. Every day you write that deadline, you feel the responsibility. You know the clock is ticking. You cannot hide from it. That pressure drives you to eat differently, to toast, to stay consistent. If you did not set the deadline, you would keep delaying. That is the difference between goals that change your life and goals that stay as dreams. This habit also affects the way people see you. When you treat your goals seriously, others notice. They see that you have direction. They see that you are not casual with your time. That earns respect. People want to be around those who know where they are going. Your seriousness attracts support and opportunities. You become someone others can trust because they know you live with intention. Writing your goals daily and tying them to deadlines also prevents regret. One of the greatest pains in life is looking back and realizing you wasted time. You don't want to carry that burden. By creating this discipline, you make sure each day counts. Even if progress is small, it is progress. You know you are moving forward because your goals remind you every single day. That consistency compounds into a life you can be proud of. So take this seriously. Get a notebook and make it a tool for success. Every morning before distractions begin, write your goals. Not on your phone, not in your head, on paper. Feel the weight of the words as you write them. Then assign a deadline. Make it clear, make it specific, and hold yourself accountable. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I move closer to the deadline? Or did I waste time? That daily honesty will push you to act with discipline. Over time, this habit will change you. You will notice that you no longer drift through days without purpose. You will feel sharper, more focused, more in control. You will start achieving smaller goals And that success will fuel bigger ones. You will act like someone who is already successful because your behavior shows seriousness. And eventually, the results will match the behavior. That is how you act successful, until you become successful. Number 6. Pay attention to small details that others usually ignore. Success often hides in places most people never look. Many focus only on the big picture, the grand moves, the bold decision. But the truth is, the foundation of lasting success is built on the small details that others usually ignore. These details may look insignificant to the careless eye, but to the disciplined person, they are the difference between average and exceptional. If you want to act successful until you become successful, you must train yourself to notice and master the little things. The way you organize your desk, the way you write an email, the way you listen in a conversation, the way you finish a task. These are details. Most people overlook them. They tell themselves it doesn't matter if the chair is left messy, if the words in the email are sloppy, if they half listen to someone speaking, or if they leave a job half finished. They think only the big wins count. But here's the reality. Those small habits shape your character, and character shapes everything else. When you pay attention to small details, you are telling yourself and the world that you care. You care about quality. You care about discipline. You care about doing things right, even when no one is watching. That is what separates those who rise from those who stay ordinary. A person who ignores details often ignores responsibility. But a person who respects details shows maturity, and maturity builds trust. People begin to see you as dependable because you consistently handle what others dismiss. Think about how trust is built. It's rarely in dramatic moments. It's in the consistency of small acts. If you show up on time, if you remember names, if you return calls, if you keep things organized, those details add up. They may look small, but over time they form an image of you in people's minds. They start to say, this person can be counted on. That reputation opens doors, not because you shouted for attention, but because you paid attention where others did not. The small details also sharpen your mind. When you train yourself to notice them, you build awareness. Awareness gives you an advantage. You catch mistakes before they grow. You spot opportunities others miss. You see patterns that others overlook. That is how success multiplies, not just by doing more, but by doing better. And better always comes from detail. Consider your personal presentation, the way you dress, the way your shoes are kept, the way your workspace looks. These are all details. Some people think they don't matter, but they do. People make judgments based on what they see, even before you speak. If you show care in the small things, they believe you will show care in bigger things. If you are careless with the little, they hesitate to trust you with the large. Paying attention to details is also about discipline and thought. When you write your goals, do you add clarity, or do you leave them vague? A vague goal shows lack of detail. A clear, measurable goal shows seriousness. When you study, do you rush through the material, or do you focus on understanding deep? The detail of comprehension separates knowledge from wisdom. In every area of life, detail is the difference between mediocrity and mastery. Most people lose opportunities not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack discipline with details. They send sloppy work. They forget commitments. They fail to notice the expectations of others. All of these mistakes are avoidable if you develop the habit of paying attention. This habit does not make life harder. It makes life smoother. It reduces errors, builds stronger connections, and saves you from future regret. There is also pride in detail. When you finish a task with care, when you polish your work, when you go the extra step others ignored, you feel satisfaction. That satisfaction fuels self-respect, and self-respect fuels confidence. You begin to trust yourself more because you know you give your best. Not just when it's easy, but always. Confidence is not built in grand gestures. It is built in the quiet moments of doing the small things right. Paying attention to small details does not mean being stuck in perfectionism. It means being intentional. Perfectionism paralyzes. Detail sharpens. It means checking twice before sending. It means listening fully. When someone speaks, it means reviewing your work before calling it finished. These are not heavy tasks. They are simple discipline. Yet few people do them consistently. That is why those who do stand out so quickly. Think of the leaders you admire. They did not rise only because of vision. They rose because they delivered. And delivery requires care. They noticed what others missed. And they took action where others ignored. They built reputations on reliability. And reliability is nothing more than details repeated daily. If you want to act successful until you become successful, start practicing detail in your own life right now. Look at your habits. Do you rush? Or do you finish properly? Do you dismiss? Or do you review? Do you forget? Or do you remember? Success is not waiting at the end of a perfect day. It is built in the repeated actions of ordinary days. And the details of those actions are what make the difference. When you meet someone, pay attention to their name and use it. When you write something, check it for mistakes before sending. When you agree to something, note it down so you don't forget. When you set a goal, break it into specific steps. Each of these may feel small, but together they create a life of order and strength. The truth is, details reveal who you are long before results show. If you want people to believe you are capable of success, let them see it in the way you handle the little thing. Because if you cannot handle the small, no one will trust you with the large. But if you prove you respect the small, you will eventually be trusted with greater responsibility. This habit also protects you from regret. Many failures in life are not because of huge mistakes, but because of ignored details, a missed email, a forgotten deadline, a careless decision. These small errors cost opportunities. By developing awareness, you protect yourself from those losses. You turn potential failure into steady growth. Success does not demand that you be extraordinary overnight. It demands that you be consistent with what matters most. Details matter. They tell the world that you care, that you are serious, and that you are building something solid. Pay attention where others are careless, and soon you will stand apart. Every area offers hundreds of small chances to practice this discipline. Treat each one as training. Over time, the habit will shape your character. And character is what carries you to success. You do not need to announce it. People will notice. They will remember you as someone who pays attention, someone who delivers, someone who can be trusted. That is how you act successful before you have fully achieved it. Success comes to those who what others ignore. Train yourself to notice, to care, and to act on the details. Do this long enough, and you will not only act successful, you will become successful. Number 7, stay calm when criticized and answer only with actions. Criticism is something you cannot escape if you want to grow. The more you push forward, the more voices will rise to question you. Some will do it out of jealousy, some out of misunderstanding, and some because they simply don't believe in you. The danger is not the criticism itself, but how you choose to respond. Most people waste their energy defending themselves, arguing, or trying to explain their worth. But that never convinces anyone. The only response that carries real weight is calmness followed by action. If you want to act successful until you become successful, you must learn to stay calm when criticized and answer only with results. When you react with anger, you hand your critics power. They see that their words reached you, and in that moment you are no longer in control. When you argue back, you waste time. Every second spent explaining yourself is a second taken away from building proof. Success does not need long speeches. It needs visible results. People can argue with your words, but they cannot argue with your work. A finished project, a completed goal, a consistent record, these silence critics faster than anything you could ever say. Staying calm under criticism requires discipline. Human nature pushes us to defend ourselves. We want others to understand our intentions. We want fairness, but life is not always fair. and people will not always understand. Accepting this truth frees you. When you no longer expect everyone to agree with you, you stop chasing approval. You start focusing on what truly matters, and progress, not words, is the ultimate answer. Think about the leaders and achievers you respect. They have all faced criticism, often severe. Yet they did not waste their energy trying to convince every doubter. They kept moving, and eventually their results spoke louder than any voice against them. That is why people remember their work, not the noise they faced along the way. You must adopt the same discipline. When criticism comes, let it pass through you. Do not give it the power to slow you down. Channel your energy into finishing what you started. There is also a deeper psychological effect here. When you remain calm under criticism, you show strength of character. People are watching how you react. If you explode, they see weakness. If you shrink, they see insecurity. But if you stay composed, they see maturity. They begin to trust you more, even if they do not agree with you. Calmness is a signal of control. Control inspires respect, and respect builds influence. This discipline also protects your peace of mind. Arguments drain energy. Anger leaves you distracted, but calmness keeps you steady. You do not waste your emotional strength on proving a point. You invest it in proving yourself through action. Over time, you achieve more. And the same people who once criticized you will either respect you or remain silent because your results cannot be ignored. Answering with actions means setting your focus on building evidence. If someone says you cannot finish, then finish. If they say you cannot learn, then learn. If they say you cannot succeed, then succeed. Do not announce it. Do not boast. Just show it. The quiet confidence of results is far more powerful than the loud defense of excuses. In time, your work will make the critics irrelevant, but this requires patience. Results take time, and during that time, you will continue to hear voices against you. You must be strong enough to live with that pressure without breaking. This is where calmness matters most. Calmness is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is the ability to hold your direction while noise surrounds you. It is the habit of refusing to waste time on things that do not build your future. You must also learn to separate useful feedback from many criticism. Not all criticism is harmful. Some contains truth that can help you improve. The key is to listen without emotion. If the criticism shows you a weakness you need to fix, then quietly improve. If it is baseless, then ignore it. Either way, stay calm. Responding with emotion clouds your judgment. Responding with action sharpens. Every day gives you chances to practice this discipline. At work, someone may question your methods. In your personal life, someone may doubt your decisions. Each time, you have a choice: argue or act. The successful choice is always action. By staying calm and moving forward, you prove not only to others, but also to yourself that you are serious. You train your mind to value results over recognition. Think of the long-term effect. A year from now, will the criticism matter? Probably not. But will the work you did matter? Absolutely. The project you finished, the skill you mastered, the progress you made, these remain. Critics come and go, but results stay. That is why you must give your energy to building, not battling. There is pride that comes from this discipline. When you know you did not waste time on arguments, when you know you kept calm and turned noise into fuel, you build self-respect. You begin to see yourself as strong, and that self-image changes everything. You stand taller, you speak with more weight, and you carry yourself like someone who belongs to success. People notice, they treat you differently, because your presence shows control. This is how you begin to act successful before the world calls you successful. Success is not only about achievements, it is about the way you handle life. The ability to stay calm under fire is one of the strongest signs of leadership. It shows that you are not easily shaken, that you cannot be pushed off course by noise. And when people see that, they trust you with greater responsibility. So take this discipline seriously. Train yourself not to react with emotion. When criticism comes, take a breath, stay calm, and remember your results will speak louder than anything you could say. Then get back to work. Every finished goal is proof. Every completed task is a statement. With each result, the voices lose power. In time, you will notice that critics no longer affect you. You will realize that their words are just noise, while your actions are building a future. And when you look back, you will be proud. Not because you silenced your critics with arguments, but because you outlasted them with progress. That is the true victory. That is how you act successful, until you become successful. Number 8, save a part of your income before spending anything. One of the strongest disciplines you can build if you want to act successful until you become successful is the habit of saving a part of your income before you spend anything. Money is not just a tool of survival. It is proof of how disciplined you are. The way you handle your income says more about your future than your current job, your education, or your background. Many people think they will start saving when they earn more. But the truth is, the habit of saving must begin now, regardless of the amount. If you cannot save a small part of a small income, you will never save a part of a large one. When you set aside money first, you are telling yourself that your future matters more than immediate comfort. Most people do the opposite. They spend on everything they desire, and if anything is left, they save it. But usually nothing is left. That habit keeps them trapped. No matter how much they earn, their spending grows to match it, and they remain in the same place year after year. Success requires the opposite approach. You pay yourself first. You take a part of every dollar you earn and move it out of reach before you even think about spending. That small act builds the foundation for financial stability, independence, and eventually wealth. Saving is not about greed. It is about security and discipline. When you save before spending, you create a sense of control. You are no longer living at the edge of survival, depending on the next paycheck to cover everything. You begin to build a cushion, and that cushion gives you peace of mind. Peace of mind allows you to take risks, to grow, to explore opportunity. Without savings, every decision is controlled by fear. With savings, you gain freedom, and freedom is one of the true marks of success. Think about the message you send to yourself when you save first. You are saying, I value my future. I respect my own effort enough to keep some of it. That builds self-respect. And self-respect changes the way you act. You walk differently when you know you have something set aside. You speak with more confidence because you are not living under constant financial pressure. People can sense that strength, and it earns you respect. This is how saving becomes more than just money. It becomes character. Saving before spending also forces you to be more intentional with the money you do spend. When you know you only have a portion left after saving, you begin to prioritize. You cut out waste. You stop buying things just to impress others. You focus on what truly matters. This discipline not only grows your bank account, it sharpens your judgment. Every purchase becomes a decision instead of an impulse. And every wise decision builds a better future. Some people say they cannot save because their income is too small. But that is an excuse that only strengthens the problem. If your income is small, that is the very reason you must save. Even a few dollars consistently saved begins to train your mind. The habit matters more than the amount at the start. Over time, as your income grows, the discipline you built allows your savings to grow as well. Without the habit, no amount will ever be enough. You will always find ways to spend it all. The discipline of saving first also prepares you for opportunities. Opportunities often come when you least expect them, and they usually require resources. If you have nothing saved, you are forced to watch opportunities pass you by. But if you have prepared, you can act. That is how wealth is built, not only by earning, but by being ready when the right chance arrives. Saving is your preparation. It positions you to take advantage of the future. Saving also protects you from setbacks. Life is unpredictable. Emergencies happen. Without savings, one unexpected problem can push you into debt and keep you trapped for years. With savings, you can handle challenges without losing your stability. That stability keeps you moving forward when others are forced backward. Success is not just about moving fast. It is about not being knocked down permanently. Savings is your shield against being knocked out of the game. There is also pride in watching your savings grow. Each time you set aside money, you feel stronger. You know you are building something. You know you are not wasting everything you worked for. That feeling of growth motivates you to continue. Soon, saving is not a burden, but a reward. You begin to enjoy it more than spending, because spending gives temporary pleasure, but saving gives lasting confidence. This discipline also builds respect from others. People notice when you live with control. They see that you do not chase every new toy or fall into every new trend. They begin to trust you more because if you can handle money wisely, you can handle responsibility wisely. Money management is not just about wealth. It is about trust. And trust opens doors in business and in life. Imagine the difference 10 years of this habit will make. Even if you save a modest amount, the accumulation will surprise you. You will have options that others do not. You will have choices, and choices are what separate the free from the trapped. Most people spend their lives working for survival. But those who save build a life of independence. That independence allows you to act, to plan, and to shape your own future. So the rule is simple. Before you spend on anything, save a part of it. Do it every time. Do it without excuse. Do it until it becomes part of who you are. In the beginning, it may feel small. But remember, you are building not only money, but discipline. And discipline is more valuable than any single dollar because it ensures the flow continues. This is how you act successful. Until you become successful. Successful people are not casual with money. They respect it. They manage it. They grow. You may not yet have the wealth you desire, but if you practice this habit, you are already living like someone who does, and soon the results will catch up with the behavior. Act with seriousness now. Save before you spend. Build the foundation and let that foundation carry you toward freedom. One day you will look back and realize that the small act of saving a part of your income before spending anything was the decision that changed everything. Number 9. Choose tough decisions today instead of delaying them again. The strength of your future depends on the choices you make today. And often the choices that matter most are the ones you keep postponing. Tough decisions are the ones that carry weight, the ones that require courage, the ones that can change the direction of your life. They are never easy, but they are always necessary. Most people avoid them because they bring discomfort. They choose to wait until tomorrow, hoping that somehow the decision will be easier then. But tomorrow turns into weeks. Weeks turn into years. And the cost of delay grows heavier. If you want to act successful until you become successful, you must train yourself to choose tough decisions today, instead of delaying them again. Avoiding hard choices creates weakness. Every time you postpone a decision, you tell yourself that comfort is more important than progress. That message shapes your mind. And over time, you become someone who runs from responsibility. Success does not come to people who run. It comes to people who face life directly. When you decide quickly and firmly, even when it is difficult, you build strength. That strength grows into confidence, and confidence becomes momentum. Think about the tough decisions you already know you need to make. Maybe it is leaving a job that drains you. Maybe it is ending a relationship that no longer builds you. Maybe it is committing to a new path that scares you. Whatever it is, you already feel its weight. Ignoring it does not make it disappear. It lingers. It eats at you. It steals your energy because deep down you know you are avoiding the truth. The moment you decide, you feel lighter. Even if the road ahead is hard, the relief of choosing is powerful. That is why action is always stronger than delay. Every tough decision is like a door. When you step through, you open the possibility for growth. When you stand outside, afraid to enter, you remain stuck. Many people spend years standing in front of the same doors, wishing their lives were different, but never stepping forward. And the tragedy is that most doors only open when you act. Waiting does nothing. Thinking endlessly does nothing. Action is the key that unlocks progress. Choosing tough decisions today also builds trust in yourself. You prove that you can face life head on. You prove that you will not let fear control you. Each time you act, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. That belief changes the way you see yourself. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as someone who takes charge. And when you see yourself differently, you live differently. You begin to carry yourself with the presence of someone who deserves success. Delaying decisions, on the other hand, damages your confidence. You may tell yourself you are waiting for the right time, but inside you know you are avoiding. That avoidance creates guilt. Guilt weakens your spirit. It makes you doubt yourself. It steals your peace of mind, because every day you are reminded of what you should have done. This is why procrastination is dangerous. It is not just wasted time, it is wasted character. You must realize that tough decisions never get easier with delay. In fact, the longer you wait, the harder they become. Problems grow when ignored. Responsibilities pile up. The courage you needed yesterday must now be even greater today. This is why successful people train themselves to act quickly. They understand that hesitation multiplies difficulty. By choosing today, they prevent problems from expanding into crises. There is also freedom that comes from deciding. Unmade decisions keep you trapped in uncertainty. You cannot move forward because you are stuck in between. But when you finally decide, you break the chain. Even if the path is hard, at least you are moving. Progress is always better than standing still, because movement teaches you, strengthens you, and leads you to new opportunities. Standing still teaches nothing. Consider how this discipline impacts your relationships, your career, your health, your finance. In every area, the toughest decisions are often the ones that create the greatest breakthroughs. Cutting bad habits, saying no to temptations, setting boundaries, making commitments. These are not comfortable choices, but they are life-changing. And each time you make one, you grow. Some people believe they are being wise by waiting. They tell themselves they need more time to think. But most of the time, waiting is not as if. It is fear disguised as caution. You already know what must be done. The clarity is there, but the courage is missing. The longer you wait, the more fear takes root. The more you act, the more courage grows. This is why you must choose today. Action kills fear. Delay feeds it. To act successful until you become successful, you must develop the habit of immediate responsibility. When faced with a tough decision, acknowledge it, face it, and decide. Do not bury it under distractions. Do not escape it with excuses. Confront it. Even if the decision brings short-term discomfort, it creates long-term strength, and strength is the currency of success. You must also prepare yourself for the reality that not every decision will be perfect. Sometimes you will choose a path and realize later it was not the best. But even then, you are ahead of the person who never chose at all. Because you acted, you gained experience. Because you moved, you learned. Delay teaches nothing. Action teaches everything. The courage to decide is worth more than the comfort of waiting. Imagine looking back 10 years from now. Will you be proud of the decisions you made, or will you regret the ones you delayed? That picture should guide you. Do not give your future self more regrets to carry. Give yourself pride. Make the tough choices today, so that tomorrow you can stand tall, knowing you did not run from responsibility. Every time you choose a tough decision, instead of postponing it, you build momentum. Momentum is powerful. It carries you forward. Soon you are not only acting successful, you are living successfully. Because success is not built on easy choices. It is built on tough ones made consistently. So take the decision you have been avoiding. Take it today. Face the discomfort. Step into the unknown. Do it not only for the result, but for the person you will become. That act of courage is how you transform. That act of courage is how you rise. And that act of courage is how you act successful until you truly become successful. Number 10. Train your mind daily to resist comfort and weakness. The greatest battles you will ever face are not with the world outside, but with your own mind. Every day, your mind is tempted by comfort, by ease, by the promise of rest without effort. And every day, your mind is challenged by weakness, the voice that says, do it tomorrow. Take it easy. Don't push so hard. If you give in, you lose momentum. And every time you give in, you weaken your character. If you want to act successful until you become successful, you must train your mind daily to resist comfort and weakness. The human mind is like a muscle. If you train it, it becomes strong. If you neglect it, it becomes soft. Comfort is the weight that keeps you from lifting yourself higher. And weakness is the excuse that convinces you to settle for less. The way to rise above both is through daily training. Not once in a while, not only when you feel motivated, but every single day. Just as the body grows stronger through exercise, the mind grows tougher through discipline. Training your mind begins with small choices. Waking up when the alarm rings instead of pressing snooze is training. Finishing the task you promised yourself, even when you are tired, is training. Saying no to distractions that waste your time is training. These may look small, but they are powerful because they prove you can resist the pull of comfort. Each time you win a small battle, you prepare yourself for larger ones. This is how mental toughness is built, one decision at a time. Weakness often disguises itself as kindness to yourself. It says, "You've done enough, take it easy, you deserve a break." There is nothing wrong with rest when it is earned, but there is everything wrong with rest when it is used as escape. You must learn to recognize the difference. Rest after progress strengthens you. Rest instead of progress weakens you. The mind loves to trick you with comfort, but you must stay alert. Success belongs to those who know when to push and when to truly recover. Training your mind also means setting standards that are higher than your moods. If you only act when you feel good, you will never build anything lasting. Feelings change. Some mornings you feel tired. Some days you feel discouraged. If you allow your actions to be controlled by those feelings, you remain stuck. But if you have trained your mind to act regardless of mood, you rise above. Discipline means doing what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. That is how you separate yourself from the majority who live at the mercy of their emotion. Every successful person you admire has trained their mind to resist comfort. They chose the harder road when the easier one was available. They put in hours when others gave up. They faced criticism and kept going. That strength did not appear overnight. It was built daily. It was built each time they said no to weakness. And you can build the same strength if you commit to the same practice. Comfort is dangerous because it feels harmless. Sitting longer, delaying work, indulging in distraction. These do not destroy you in a day, but slowly, over time, they drain your energy and kill your ambition. By the time you realize it, years are gone. That is why you must resist. The moment you feel yourself slipping into a nice comfort, push back, stand up, take action, remind yourself of your goals. Every time you do, you sharpen your edge. Weakness grows when it is fed. If you keep giving in, it becomes your habit. But strength grows the same way. Each time you resist, you feed your strength. Each time you choose the harder path, you reinforce your toughness. And soon, what once felt impossible becomes normal. The habits that used to challenge you become part of your identity. That is the reward of daily training. You transform yourself. Practical training of the mind requires structure. Give yourself daily challenges that test your comfort zone. Read when you want to scroll. Exercise when you want to sit. Work when you want to delay. Start with something small, but do it every day. This is not about punishment. It is about proving to yourself that you control your actions, not your impulses. The more you practice, the stronger you become. Another part of training is intilling your thoughts. The mind is filled with noise, and much of that noise is weakness in disguise. Thoughts that tell you it's too late, you're not ready, or you're not capable. These are lies your weakness uses to keep you small. You must learn to silence them by replacing them with stronger thoughts. Every time you feel doubt, remind yourself of your past victory. Every time you feel unworthy, remind yourself of your progress. Control your thoughts, or your thoughts will control you. Consistency is what transforms training into identity. Doing it once proves nothing. Doing it daily builds character. Train your mind every day, not only when it's convenient. Small acts, repeated over and over, become who you are. Wake early. Work with focus. Finish what you start. These simple acts, done daily, shape your future. They create a reputation with yourself that you can rely on. And when you trust yourself, you no longer fear the challenges of life. You must also understand that resisting comfort does not mean rejecting joy. True joy comes from growth, from achievement, from strength. Comfort without achievement feels empty. Comfort after achievement feels earned. That is the difference. Weakness settles for the shallow version. Strength works for the real one. Train yourself to choose the path that leads to deeper satisfaction, not temporary ease. Every day you have a choice: the easy way or the right way. The easy way offers rest now, but regret later. The right way demands effort now, but delivers pride later. Success belongs to those who choose pride over regret, and that choice is made in the small, daily moments of resisting weakness. When you live this way, people begin to notice. They see your discipline. They see that you do not bend easily. They see that you stand firm when others collapse, and that respect builds influence. You may not have reached the peak of success, but you are already living like someone who belongs there. That is how you act successful, until success becomes reality. So make the commitment. Train your mind daily. Resist the temptation of unnecessary comfort. Stand up to weakness with action. Build habits that prove you are in control. Do it every day until it becomes natural. The strength you gain will carry you through every challenge, and the discipline you build will shape every success. When you look back, you will realize that training your mind to resist comfort and weakness was not just a habit. It was the foundation of everything you became. Remember this: people will believe your actions long before they believe your words. If you start living with the discipline, focus, and confidence of a successful person today, you set the stage for your future to match your behavior. Don't wait for success to knock on your door. Show it in the way you speak, in the way you work, and in the way you carry yourself. The world notices, and more importantly, you notice. That's how real change begins. If this message challenged you, take it as your signal to act. Not tomorrow, but today. Apply one step, then another, and keep building. And if you want more strategies to push your life forward, make you stay connected here. Every video is designed to help you grow stronger, wiser, and closer to the success you're chasing. Come back, because your journey doesn't end here. It's only just starting.